Right, we are now live, Chair.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our SACRE meeting. Really wonderful to know you're all here, even though I cannot see you all at the moment. And especially want to welcome our new members. We have Samuel Hilsenrath, who's our Jewish representative, and the Reverend Ray Goddess, who, I need to be corrected, is he our Methodist representative? Lovely. And although he can't join us today, we do have a young person who will be with us eventually. He's poorly today, and his name is Hayden Wade. So welcome. I will just begin with a roll call and just see for who's here and who's not. We do have some apologies. So if you'd just like to unmute when I call your name and let us know you're here. Elizabeth Jenkinson.
Here.
Jeff Wheeler.
Hello.
Sarah Coote.
Here, but I'm on a phone, so I don't know if I can. I'm on the audio.
We
so
can hear you.
Yes, but I assume I can't mute myself.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, I might be able to mute you. Let's see.
If you need to unmute, then you press *6 on your phone, and that should unmute you if you are muted.
Thank you.
Lovely. Sheikh Fazal Abbas Datu.
Yes, here.
Christine Macmillan. Pastor Chris Thomas.
Yes, sorry, I'm here. I couldn't.
Oh, hello there. I can see you now.
Apologies in advance. If we haven't finished, I've got another commitment. I have to leave at 5:30.
Super. Thank you. Pastor Chris Thomas.
Apologies.
Thank you. Jaswant Singh Digpal. Barbara Spielkarter.
Barbara's just coming in now.
Oh, lovely. Welcome, Barbara. Jeff Wade. Moving on to Group B, Sue Bowen.
Sue sends her apologies.
Thank you. Jane Kelly.
Yeah, I'm here.
Helen Reeder. Carrie Lang.
Yeah, hiya. I'm Kari, by the way. It's not Carrie.
Forgive me, Kari.
That's right.
No, I've known you long enough. I'll have to put that there. Aisha Small. Debbie Lucas.
Hello.
Hello, Debbie. Ali Beechhurst.
Ali no longer works in the local authority. She's moved roles, but I think we have recruited another head teacher to take her place. So I'll have to make sure that that person gets the details.
Lovely, thank you for that. That's really worth it. Brilliant. And then Group D, Maria Cole. Taki Jaffa.
Present.
And I believe we have apologies from Councillor Tom and Councillor Ryan. Jessie Wilson.
Hello.
And no Hayden with us today. And have I missed anybody who is present?
It's me, Debbie Anderson, Head of School Improvement for the local authority.
Okay, let's make sure we were on the list then.
Sorry, earlier you said my name and you were introducing me as a new member, but I didn't respond. So I'm here as well.
And who are you?
Sam Hilsenroth.
Hello, Sam. Welcome. Lovely to hear from you. Anyone else? Okay. And with that, I think we've also covered the apologies for absence.
I've got those noted, Chair.
Thank you very much. So we shall now move on to item 3, and just a moment to take a breath for some quiet reflection, which I shall lead today. So just a moment to sit back and just think. As we notice that the dangers of the pandemic have eased and we have found ourselves in a new space, none of us could have foreseen the next darkness that has arrived and lurks across Europe. In the face of it all, the global prayers from the faith community for peace, and peace for Ukraine and peace for Russia, have been extremely moving. These prayers unite us in our humanity and also the thoughts of those for whom they would consider themselves not a person of faith. The immense generosity of those who have made financial donations and also physically taken lorry loads of clothes and baby milk and nappies, etc., have been heartwarming. And they've gone to a place that is the edge of safety. And in our moment's silence, let's just read. Thank you all. And now I invite you, as we now move on to item 4 on our agenda. Does anyone have any declaration of interest to declare? Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi, it's my usual. I'm a judge for West Hill that gives grants to SACREs.
Thank you. And now moving on to item 5, minutes of the previous meeting dated the 3rd of November 2021. There have been some typos already spotted. Have anybody else noticed anything that they would like corrected?
Chair, I'm seeking a point for clarification, please.
Please say that again.
I'm seeking a point for clarification, please.
Yes, please do.
I remember it was in the meeting, the conference for the revision of the leaving difference, where I put in a suggestion with regards to moving the dates for the exercise to be carried out. So I'm just seeking clarification that those am I right, and not in these ones which we are going through today.
Is that Pat? Could you comment upon those?
Okay. Yes. It definitely is a point that I took back to my colleagues and we discussed. And this may be a matter arising, really. Shall we attend to it in a moment when it is in these minutes that what you raised is there. If I could address it in the next item when we look at matters arising, it's important.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So just for clarification, is it recorded in these current minutes which you're going through?
Let's us just check. You're right. I think that would have been recorded in the agreed syllabus conference minutes.
And that those would normally go to the next conference meeting.
We won't be looking at again until 5 years' time, or 4 years' time. I'm wondering if we could raise it under matters arising, although it's not exactly matters arising, but and we could record something, which I've got a proposal for. Would that be acceptable?
Yeah, thank you. I think that will be very much in order, so that as part of matters arising, it gives some sort of action plan for you to drop your timetable rather than waiting for confirmation of the minutes for the next conference, please.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for reminding us, because that's really important. Thank you. Okay, so before I move on, are you happy that this is a true record of our last meeting? And would somebody like to propose them, please, by raising a hand? So Elizabeth Jenkinson and someone else to second them. Thank you very much, Sheikh Fazal. All those in favour? Are you able to see a big screen, Karen, for everybody, or do you want them to put their hands on there?
Well, I think we can do it by dissent if anybody has.
Okay. Anybody
disagrees.
Against? Okay. I don't think Jane's against. There we are. Okay. Is that carried? That's lovely. Thank you very, very much for that. It's really helpful. Okay, moving on to item 6, I'm just going to hand over to Pat for this next bit, please. Thank you.
So with regard to matters arising, I think Sheikh Fazal raised the issue at our last meeting, but it was about the timing of agreed syllabus review. And what I'm going to propose, which is not exactly what was discussed, but I suspect that there's never quite a right time to do a review. There's never quite a right time to launch. What I would suggest is that we're leaving a legacy for Portsmouth SACRE, but that in good time Portsmouth SACRE agrees to consider the timing of the reviews and to ensure that the other SACREs reviewing together, that happens. So what we're talking about is the publishing of the next agreed syllabus in a timely way to give schools a chance to get it implemented. At the moment, we publish in the autumn of a year, and that's happened for the last 5 or so years. And that means that it's never ready exactly for a September. So the question will be, would it be better to publish a syllabus in the spring term, allowing a whole term and a half for implementation ready for September, or would it be better to publish? This is basically the consideration, I think, that Sheikh Fazal very sensibly raised for us. So we've adopted this syllabus in December, November, effectively, of 2021. It would be sometime during 21, 22, 23, 24, sometime during 2025 to give fair consideration to the timing of the publication of a subsequent syllabus. I guess it would be a good idea to bring to the March meeting of the agreed of SACRE or the autumn meeting in 2024. Perhaps it should be the autumn meeting of 2024. That gives plenty of time then, 2 years, to agree the future publication, whether it's to bring it forward or whether it's to bring it slightly later. Does that meet with the concern, Sheikh Fazal? He's freezing a little.
Yeah, I was saying that would be a good start. Thank you very much.
We'll be bequeathing this to the autumn meeting of 2024 SACRE.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Back to you, Sam.
Okay. And another matter arising for minute number 26, the election of vice chair. Do we do this in this section?
I think Karen thought, our clerk thought we could. I mean, what we can say that we have received a serious expression of interest to take the position of vice chair.
Yes.
And that's Corrie Lang, who I think has given it considerable thought and spoken to our chair. And we don't need an election exactly because we don't have several people offering. But I think this is very considered, and I think we're very grateful to Corrie. We probably need to formally bring Corrie into the position. I'll hand back to Sam.
So we would like to formally invite you, Corrie, to be vice chair. What action do I need to take now?
I can see Taki has his hand up.
Taki, please speak.
I just wondered if Carrie wouldn't mind giving us a brief synopsis of herself, just because it just gives a better understanding of, you know, who we're electing to the chair position of vice chair.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Over
you.
to you, Corrie, then.
Okay, I shall keep it brief. I teach philosophy, religion and ethics, and I have done for almost 20 years now. I'm also the sixth form representative. Got a lot of experience working with local schools, not so much actually in Portsmouth because I was over in Gosport, but I am making the connections in the local schools in Portsmouth now. So I just feel that I'm in a good place to be able to offer myself to the role.
Thank you. May I be bold enough to ask if anybody's got any questions for Corrie? Well, we welcome you and thank you so very, very much. Do I need to do anything else now, Karen?
I don't think so, Chair. Again, I think we can do this by dissent if nobody has any objections. I think we can say that Kari has been duly elected. Well,
yes,
yeah. Confirmed. Let's say confirmed. Confirmed as Vice Chair.
We confirm that you are our Vice Chair, Kari. Welcome. Very big welcome to you. Thank you.
Hurrah! Thank you.
Hurrah! Well, we are delighted. Well, I'm delighted. So that's brilliant. Okay. And now I'm assuming there was no dissension. Nobody's waving their hand to say they are against this moment. So we'll carry on and move to number 7, any membership updates.
So I think everybody has had the membership report in their information pack, and we have, as it says here, that we have SACRE is made up of 4 groups, and Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D, and SACRE also has some co-options. We are still looking for a representative from the Catholic Diocesan Office, and we are still looking for Buddhist and Hindu representatives into Group A. And I think now we have our new clerk in place, and chair and vice chair, and we're going to put our heads together and make a point of looking outwards to recruit those positions, which are very critical in such a multicultural city as Portsmouth. We're also seeking, I think, an additional teacher representative. We need to just check that everybody, we've had some people in that group that haven't been attending, and we need to just check that they are still there. And so a little bit of housekeeping in relation to that. However, we're delighted that we now have our student representative on SACRE, and we're sorry that Hayden isn't able to be with us today. We have got a standing agenda item now in relation to that, so we'll defer to Jessie in relation to that later on. But of course, we're delighted to welcome Samuel to our meeting. This is marvellous, and also to the Reverend Ray Goddess. So this is fabulous. One of the things we do regularly is to arrange training for SACRE members, and we try and do this across the 4 authorities that share the agreed syllabus. So my plan will be to arrange something either during the summer term, probably during the summer term, do it fairly imminently. We've traditionally run something one a year in September, but I think there's sufficient new members that we should run it sooner than that. And in addition, so as well as new members who will be invited to attend that, we would really welcome anybody from SACRE who would like a refresher and treat it as an opportunity to explore our agreed syllabus a little bit more. Otherwise, that's the report.
Thank you very much, and your report has been noted. Thank you. Moving on to item 8, brief updates or notifications of items to be brought to a future meeting. Does anyone have anything they would need or would want to recommend that we bring to a future meeting? I'm assuming that no hands have been raised, and the silence might suggest on this occasion that there are no new items. Okay, moving on to item 9, monitoring group meeting. Pat, would you like to introduce your report?
So monitoring, SACRE has 2 major responsibilities. One is to ensure that there is a locally agreed syllabus, but the second thing, a very important responsibility, is to monitor the effectiveness of religious education across the authority. And to do that, SACRE convenes a monitoring group that meets around about a month, 6 weeks before each SACRE meeting. And the group is fairly informal, but it includes representation from all of the 4 groups. And if you think your group is not well enough attended, then please make contact with our clerk or myself or our chair, and we can correct that. It's an opportunity outside of the main SACRE meeting to interrogate a little bit more carefully how things are going, whereas in this meeting we would never mention, for example, the names of particular schools. In the group, it's not a public meeting, and we can discuss things in some depth. So we have a regular number of things that we look at to monitor. But first of all, one of those is the GCSE examinations, and consideration of the GCSE religious studies examinations normally forms the first part of our agenda. And as you can see in this, we were discussing at our recent meeting the provision that's being made for the summer examination series. This is important because for 2 years we haven't had any data to look at, because the GCSE has been awarded on the basis of teacher assessments, and the Department for Education were very keen to make sure that there was some, if you like, I guess, pressure taken away from schools a little bit, so that the data in relation to GCSE examinations grade awards was not made public. Whereas in the autumn, we will have data again to look at. And you'll remember our concern is that although schools who enter children, young people for GCSE in Portsmouth tend to achieve well, or the children, the young people achieve well, our concern over a number of years has been the small number of entries in relation to the population that are eligible to enter. And our question, since religious education is statutory at Key Stage 4, the GCSE years, our question is what opportunities are young people in Portsmouth having to study high quality religious education across the authority. And of course, in the autumn, when we've got the data, we'll be able to resume that conversation once more. The examination series is going to be exams, that's the intention, and schools are preparing themselves for that. Now, Debbie Anderson, who's responsible for religious education in one of our secondary schools, attends that meeting, but we know that this has been a very pressurized time for teachers. However, we also considered on this occasion, excuse me, I'm looking to my papers that are on another screen here, and we acknowledged that there had been 2 major, very successful conferences that were open for attendance to Portsmouth schools. We were pleased about that. So those took place. If you know of teachers who may be interested to still catch up, there is a half-day course that is being offered in June, and we put the date of that meeting, that course, in the minutes, I think, and we can encourage schools to attend. But across all of the authorities, Portsmouth, Southampton, Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, over 350 schools were able to attend across the 2 events, which was really amazing in terms of the interest. Debbie Anderson here I was able to offer a brief input into head teachers event, and Debbie, I think you've offered something for governors as well in relation. I think that's so. Yeah, this is nodding. So we've been seeking to give as much coverage and support for the introduction of the new syllabus. One thing we do need to note, though, is that we are going to make a very small adjustment to page 3 of the syllabus. Although the wording was exactly the same as in 2015. We don't want schools to misled at all to the fact that they really need to attend also to the Ofsted handbook. So it's not that Ofsted aren't interested in the locally agreed syllabus. So that adjustment has been made finally today, and the slightly adjusted version will be what's uploaded onto the Portsmouth website. It's a minor thing that doesn't affect the substantive work of the syllabus. So it doesn't need anything else then. You can see the rest of the thing is that we are going to examine websites. So we are in production of guidelines for the schools for their websites, and this will be shared with you in the minutes of the meeting. When it comes to June, when this has been circulated to schools, we will be asking for offers of people from SACRE who would be interested to help us with some monitoring of the website. So this will be SACRE. We received an update on professional educational opportunities that are available for teachers, and we also considered Ofsted reports. The Ofsted reports are now written in such a way that they're intended really for parental consumption. So they contain very little detail, in fact. What they do indicate is where a school has had a deep dive for a particular subject. And we noted that there haven't been any deep dives for RE during the period that we were looking at. So we just have to keep looking for that. What we know is what's really important, we may invite Debbie to speak to this, is the conversation that happens around the table with the head teacher towards the end of the Ofsted inspection. And if it's a local authority school, then I think Debbie would be involved with that conversation. If it's an academy, then it's more difficult for us to really keep an eye on what is going on. I don't know if Debbie, would you like to add something to that in relation to Ofsted?
Yes, I think you're right. A lot is actually discussed at the team meeting with the school, the final bit where the judgments are made, and there's lots of detail that is shared between the inspection team and the school to explain how the judgments are coming about, and that doesn't necessarily now make its way into that final report. So I think that discussion, that school leaders can work with myself and feedback to me if there are things around religious education, or certainly the sort of the spiritual element that is undertaken in inspection work under social, moral, spiritual and cultural that is looked at from the handbook. Then I would gain that from our LA maintained schools, but I wouldn't necessarily get that level of detail from our academies. I think the important bit with reference to living difference and that adjustment being made is that you have to be very, very careful that schools do not do things for Ofsted. Ofsted inspect our schools on the things that they should be doing all the time anyway.
Okay, thank you. So SACRE does have a responsibility to monitor collective worship, and my colleague Justine Ball will be embarking on a survey during the summer term. We have wanted to keep the pressure minimum for schools, but assuming all other things being equal in relation to COVID, this may be something that SACRE will want to resume. And then, as in the past, we have received, it's important, we started this monitoring of collective worship, in particular where schools may have received a request to withdraw children from or collective worship, in light some years ago of a potential risks there might be of right-wing extremist activity, for example, with a concern that if we saw a spike in withdrawals from collective worship, or indeed withdrawals from religious education, all a part of, this is something in light of that we should keep our eyes on. But with COVID, we've just not wanted to put any extra pressures on school. But I think we're delighted that we've got some progress in the religious places of worship document, and this is Sam who's been working on this for SACRE.
You want me to speak about the document? So I apologise that it has taken me so long. I think it's a year since we started talking about this document to put it together, but just had a bit of time at the beginning of this week because I have an interfaith meeting I'm going to tomorrow here in Portsmouth. And the document I've put together, I have gleaned from a document that's been produced in many of the SACREs that gathered in London, but also put a nuance in our document, which will enable places of worship to think about the golden threads in living difference so that they can work together with the schools to provide perhaps the best experience as possible. It says things like, you know, the name of the person in the place of worship who identifies as the faith leader, and then who to be contacting. It asks for specific questions about greetings, about how we ask about names, what names people like to be called, what kind of rooms are available in the place of worship, whether there's parking, other things to do with food, other things to do with special items. And there's even a section about pondering time for faith leaders who might feel they've got time to go into school and contribute to those lovely experiences and just extensions of the curriculum. So I'm not able to share that with you on my screen, I don't think. But what I'm going to do is circulate this questionnaire to the faith leaders in SACRE who have got places of worship here in Portsmouth. Across the deanery, it will go here in Portsmouth. Tomorrow, I will be asking the faith leaders attending this interfaith meeting if they will get involved so that schools know who to contact, how to contact, and which places they can visit. I had a teacher from a school last week, a secondary school, say, "Can you give me the phone number of?" And I was like, "Well, no, I can't, but I'm on it." I'm on it. So, and it will be really lovely to have this documentation up to date because our directory is really out of date now in a way it wasn't before. So with the new kind of freedoms we're finding, I'm hoping to get that collated and somehow up and available.
I don't know if people have any questions about this. It's a fabulous project. It's one that pretty much everybody will be able to participate in, and it will be very useful for schools. My understanding is it's going to be uploaded as a digital document onto the Portsmouth website. I think Debbie's going to help, and we may be able. We think we can find somebody to help do a little bit of formatting. Am I right, Debbie?
I'll certainly make the right efforts for that to happen, yes.
It just needs a bit of something about it to make it known that it looks like it's got put, you know, the Portsmouth City Council emblems on and SACRE emblems on. And I was thinking it could all be one big rolling document, but on this, it might be easier if there's clickable links for each place of worship, or alphabetical might be easier for people to handle. But I'm really happy to have a conversation about how that would work, if that helps. Okay. Do I need to ask any more questions? Does anybody have any questions about the things that Pat has said and Debbie and myself? Taki?
I just say, with the contents of the way you produce if it's an online document, then you can create hyperlinks from the index page directly onto the item. So it is easily feasible, but if you need any support, please do ask.
That's very generous of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any
So,
more?
Jane's just put a comment in the chat.
Thank you, Jane. That's really very kind. Well, it's only useful if I actually get it all together and people actually fill it out and we get it going, but that's brilliant. Thank you. Any more comments?
I just had a thought whether this would be a very nice thing for Hayden to take to the Portsmouth, the council, sorry, COPS, the Council of Portsmouth Students. Whether that's something something we might add to the minutes.
Well, I'm very happy to give the document to Karen so it can be just sent out to whoever. And I'll be doing that with the interfaith group to give it to the secretary of that one, and we'll just see where it goes and where it comes back to. I'm very happy for them to come back to me initially, or if they've come to you, Karen, that's all good too. That's really good. Any more comments? Is everybody happy with what they've heard and with the reports? Hello, Taki.
Apologies, but it's just a thought that maybe the COP team might be able to look at this document and, excuse the word, but update it to a more younger audience-friendly document. It's just a thought.
Well, I mean, honestly, I think that's a brilliant idea. I've just put some boring old tables, spreadsheets onto a Word document. So however it comes out, it's ours, and if we own it and it looks brilliant, that's very exciting.
Because I think the creative minds of the youngsters are very, very powerful.
Yeah, far more than mine are. Yes,
No
thank
comment.
you. What a great idea. What a great idea. I'm sure Jessie will have a comment about that. Okay, so thank you for your reports and for all we've shared in that item, and they are duly noted. So let's move on to item 10. Council of Portsmouth Students, COPS and SACRE. Over to you, Pat.
Well, this is now a standing agenda item. We're delighted that we've been able to make an appointment from COPS, and the Unlock has breathed new life into that again, that I really would like to hand over to Jessie. Thank you.
Thank you. I've put some slides together, so I'm really hoping that I'll be able to share my screen. However, I'm not very hot on Teams, I'm afraid. So hopefully you can all see those slides.
It's there. Yeah, lovely.
Fabulous. So yeah, this was just a quick few slides I put together to introduce you all to Unlock and the Council of Portsmouth Students, and then to Hayden as well, who unfortunately isn't with me. We're both unwell. I'm working from home, and he is resting up at home. But just to kind of give you a little bit of who we are. So Unlock, if you haven't heard of us, so we were founded in 2013 by Hayden and Taylor. So Hayden's there on the left and Ben on the right. They're still very much managing directors of the company. And our mission of Unlock is to empower young people to be innovative change makers who seek to build stronger communities and sustainable businesses. And we develop young people's skills, enhance their potential, and boost their determination to succeed. So although we are based in Portsmouth, we do work nationally, but one of the main projects we do are student forums, and thus the Council of Portsmouth Students. So that's Team Unlock, just a lovely photo I love to add in. There's many more of us within the team as well, but that was our annual get together last year. And then this is me. My name is Jessie. So I'm a programme facilitator at Unlock. So my focus is on leadership skills and student voice. And before I was working at Unlock, I was a lecturer of drama and theatre at some schools in Portsmouth and also in the Midlands. But yeah, so the Council of Portsmouth Students, which I'll go into more detail, that comes under the student voice part of my role. So as I said, Unlock runs quite a few student forums, and these are forums for young people across an area to collaboratively work together to drive school improvement in their community and local area. And these forums celebrate and share good examples where students can facilitate a positive change to their educational environment. They also act to help young people identify and create an action plan to generate more positive changes in their school, college or institution. So the Council of Portsmouth Students, or COPS as we fondly call it, is just one of Unlock student forums. We also have a primary version made up of some primary schools based in Portsmouth. We also have the Cambridgeshire Student Forum, so exactly the same thing as COPS, but in Cambridgeshire. And then we also did used to have the South Hampshire District Forum, but that was disbanded at the end of last year. But that was made up of schools in Gosport and in Hampshire. One of those schools that was really involved in the South Hampshire District Forum was then absorbed into COPS. So although they're not quite in Portsmouth, they are still kind of ongoing with student voice. And each forum is bespoke to the area, the institutions involved and the student representatives who wholly shape their forum. So COPS this year, we're really fortunate to have 11 institutions directly involved. We have 15 institutions overall who are involved, but 11 directly involved, and they send student participants to the Council of Portsmouth Students, of which there are 59 participating this year. And these are the schools that are directly involved. Hopefully you recognise the logos, so I don't have to go through them. And then this is a snapshot of our students. So this was a photo taken at the end of last month at our forum within the Portsmouth Changemaker Studios, which is where Unlock is based within the Portsmouth Guildhall. Lovely, smiley young people. Our youngest is in year 7 and our eldest this year is in year 11, although in previous years we also have had representation from year 12 and year 13. So the Council of Portsmouth Students is made up of 3 different groups. So the first one is institution groups. So these are made up of the representatives from each school. So some of those groups are made up of 2 students, some of them go up to 8. They vary depending on what the link teacher of that school want to send across as representatives. But we meet either in person or online with their student representatives, with their link teacher, who's my point of contact with the school, and then myself to discuss an action plan for the future. So we've just had all those institution group meetings recently. 2 of those I was able to do in person, went into the schools, and the rest of those took place online, mostly during the school day, for us to kind of catch up and check in, see how they were doing. We then have action groups, which are online meetings with all the members of that specific action group. And that's led by an action group leader, which is a student, and then supported by myself from Unlock. And within these meetings, we have discussions of their specific actions, what individuals can do and contribute to their individual institutions, and meeting with their bespoke mentors to help and assist and guide. We've got 4 action groups this year, so their focuses are on climate change and eco-friendly, diversity and inclusion, life skills and careers, and mental health and well-being. So this was decided by the students themselves. So they all took a vote and then they were able to choose which group they wanted to go into. So there is a bit of an imbalance. Some of the groups are smaller than others, but we also had to consider making sure there was representation of each group for all the schools. So if a school, for example, sent 4 student representatives, they're all in separate action groups to try and kind of cover all bases, if you will. So these are our different action groups. This is our climate change action group, our diversity action group, our life skills action group. They're the slightly smaller group. They were missing some members that day though. And our mental health and wellbeing action group there. Lovely smiley people. Then we have our executive group. So this is an in-person meetings that take place led by the chairperson, which is a young person, and supported by myself. And we regularly meet up and have discussions and reviews of previous work done in COPS, looking ahead to future summits that we have, and actioning what individual members need to do to move the forum forward. And our executive group's made up of a chairperson, a vice chairperson, communications officer, education officer, social media officer, and the action group leaders and vice action group leaders of each action group. And these roles were all gained through vote. So the action group leaders and the vice action group leaders were done in person. within the action groups, where they were self-nominating, gave a 30-second speech of why they should be voted for, and then a vote was taken there and then. With the other 5 positions, that was done through an anonymous vote, so they had to pitch as to why they wanted to be chosen. They could do that through a presentation, a video, voice recording, and then we did a Google form vote where they were successful in getting their roles. And then the one that you want to be interested in is your education officer. This is a picture of our executive group. That's everybody bar one of them that we had last time we all met. So the education officer, this is a new role for 2021. This wasn't a part of the COPS in previous year. It's something I created with SACRE in mind. And their role is to attend SACRE meetings as a student representative, as Hayden would be here today, but also to attend any other additional meetings as required to do within their scope of education officer, and then to report these outcomes back to the forum. And as it says there, being a new role, there's scope to shape the role, which is really exciting. So Hayden was successful in gaining the role of education officer, and he put together this slide to introduce himself, and this is where I'd be passing over to him to read it out loud, but alas, he's not here, so I'll do it on his behalf. So Hayden does go to Admiral Lord Nelson School, where he's in year 8, and one of the reasons he wanted to join COPS and then become the education officer was to ensure that his voice was being heard, but also to inspire others, members of staff and students attending, and being able to resolve issues that face us, and simply be a supportive person. But also he was really keen about shaping the role of education officer, with it being a brand new role. And then a fun fact about him is he loves to play piano, and he performs at performing arts evenings at school along with the band that he is in. I'm really sorry again that he's not here, but if you do have any questions for me or for Hayden, I'd be very happy to pass them on to him when I see him in a couple of weeks' time for another meeting that we will be having.
Thank you so very much for that introduction. I think that was really, really helpful. And first of all, can we send our best wishes to Hayden and wish him to get well soon? And I'm just about to invite the first person with their hand up to speak, but if you do have something you'd like to ask or any questions, do ask them. And Taki, you are first.
Thank you. I just want to take this opportunity to say to Jessie and her team that from what I've seen there, I love the opportunities being given to the youngsters to actually partake in meetings, conduct meetings, and that is such a powerful training ground. And I think that will stand them in good stead in the future. I really encourage that, and I wish you well. And you've just proved my belief of creativity, so keep it up. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and may I be so bold, I think we do have an action point for Hayden already, but anybody else before I go to that one, anybody else, any comments, questions, ideas? Hello, Jane.
It sounds really good, Jessie. I think you're doing a great job with them. I was interested in the primary group. Can you tell us any more about what they're doing?
Yeah, I certainly can. So it's a slightly slimmed down version of COPS, if you will. That's something I'm looking to bring about some change to. So they only meet twice a year, but very similar vein in terms of a school sends their student participants to represent them, and they come together. So we met in, I believe it was November last year. We had 3 schools attending in person, and it's very much about promoting student voice. So a lot of these students are already involved in student council, bringing about change in their school, their community, but also at home, and as individuals. And then I'm really looking forward to meeting them again in a few weeks' time to kind of get a bit of an update. So it's more, I suppose with this one, we're supporting the school to bring about some change with the student voice, whereas with the COPS ones being a bit older, they're bringing about that change, linked still to the institution, but they're very much doing that off their own backs. What I'd love to happen one day is there really to be a legacy with primary COPs where we're seeing the same students starting off in primary COPs and then going all the way through, and oh look, they've graduated up to COPs and here they are, and they're still bringing about that change, and you know, we're already empowering them with that student voice. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, it sounds great. Thank you. That's an exciting vision there. Anybody else? Hello, Pat. I wonder.
One dream, you could say, or vision of what we might want to see a little while down the line would be something like a youth voice conference linked to SACRE. And one of the things, of course, it's Hayden's role, not us to tell Hayden, but had he been able to be here, although I know Jessie's going to meet with him, and to feedback what the work of SACRE is, of looking after religious education. You know, if there were to be at some point perhaps a subgroup of the education committee that was particularly interested and engaged with looking at religious education across the authority, with young people representation from a number of schools. And it's a wonderful opportunity for some synergy, if you like, backwards and forwards. And it may have been that Hayden would have had some things he wanted to bring to us, but hopefully he'll come to them.
Thank you. Yes, to encourage that too, for him to bring his thoughts to us, that would be super. And I'm very happy to come and meet him if that's appropriate and you'd like that and he'd like that. So I think we have asked very tenderly and gently if that would be possible, if he'd like to, or to take back to COPS the directory form, and to make it more beautiful than the very basic, boring Word document I've come up with. I will go ahead and send it out because it's easier to print black and white, but for what we put on the website, it'd be quite fun if they clicked on, you know, the forms to find these really interesting things and creativity, if that's okay with you, Jessie.
Yeah, I can't imagine that being a problem. They love a task and a challenge. So yeah, I'll be more than happy to pass that on and see what they can come up with.
I could see they're being quite competitive. Hello, Pat.
Yeah. I think I'm really interested to know what the young people think about pondering time. And if they liked the idea and thought about it, maybe to bring that to the teachers.
Yes, have they had the chance to do it yet? Have they heard of it yet? Do they know what a golden thread is yet? That's really good, isn't it?
I think what they have the opportunity with linking with COPS is for young people to start to take part in participation in the religious education curriculum across, and for it not only to be something that teachers gatekeep, if you like, however good and well they do it. It would be really interesting to have that synergy.
Hello, Taki.
Just a question, because from the point of view of us encouraging participation of the youngsters from schools into places of religious worship, are COP considering something like that, or is it our role, or is it just the school's role?
I'm not sure that's my place to say.
It sounds to me that there's great potential, isn't there? That perhaps this journey of pioneering is, we've got step one, and to see where it goes and how it captures the imagination of those who are going to get involved.
I found it very powerful that youngsters who've come to visit the various centres, whether it be the cathedral, the mosques, the synagogues, they go away with such a buzz that it actually carries them for a long while.
And we might see a revival of the visits, because coming out of lockdown, how we think about faith and how we think about ourselves has changed. And I noticed, even just with St Nicholas Church, I've had more interest now in learning and knowing than have seen before. So we'll keep that question, Taki, as we move forward. Okay, any more comments? Thank you so very much, Jessie, and we hope that your sore throat and your voice gets better soon too. Thank you for sharing what you have with us. It's very, very exciting. Let's move on to item 11, national and local updates on religious education.
Yeah, just a little bit of an update on the activity of the Religious Education Council. I sit on the board of that now, but previously I was representing ARIAC, the Association of RE Advisors, on the RE Council. The RE Council is an umbrella organisation that has its membership. It's a membership umbrella organisation. And it may be that the body, if you're from Group A or Group B, your particular body is likely to have representation on the RE Council. And the RE Council takes a lead in having dialogue with government, for example, about religious education. And also it was the Religious Education Council that initiated the Commission on RE. First of all, the commission of 2 years reflecting on the situation of RE, and then the publication of the report in 2019 that we're all feeling the ripples out of, and definitely was taken into account when we were reviewing Living Difference, what became Living Difference 4. So it's an organisation I just wanted to bring to our agenda to alert you to the fact it exists, and it's a chance for you, whatever organisation you might be connected with, if you're in Group A, to contact and then see how is your representation on the RE Council, and then we can have some sort of interconnected feeding back. One of the things the RE Council is doing in light of the Commission on RE is developing some frameworks for future agreed syllabuses, and there is the opportunity now for people to bid in to devise some of those optional frameworks. Now all of it will be optional and none of it will be ready before 2024, so this is very much sort of future planning, but it's something to be alert of, to be alert to when this syllabus comes up for review in the future. So that's the RE Council, and also suggesting that you make contact with any national body that you've got connection with to see whether your body is represented on the RE Council. It probably is. The second thing to talk about is in relation to SACRE, and for our meeting to appoint somebody to represent this SACRE at the annual general meeting of SACRE, which is going to be in Birmingham. Just before, I think it's Elizabeth knows in her involvement with SACRE a little bit more about the conference. So if that's okay, Sam, we could invite Elizabeth to entice somebody or a couple of you about the conference.
Yes, please do, yes.
Well, actually, there's some exciting news. It's still in the circulating among members before publication stage. I think it should come out quite soon. I will go ahead and share it with you, but be aware that, as does sometimes happen, it's going to change. So anyway, the current plan is that instead of the scuttling around and breaking off into workshops, there's going to be, we've got a very large area, and we're going to be set up at tables throughout, a little more social distancing there. And we've got 3 main speakers, one of whom is Richard Quay, who's the Ofsted inspector. One was going to be Sarah Lane Cott, who's the chair of the REC, but unfortunately she's having surgery and they've recommended she not try and trek to Birmingham. So Ed Paulson's going to be speaking, and David Hampshire, who used to be a chair of SACRE and is very involved in interfaith stuff. And we're going to basically have discussions at the tables, and there will also be the AGM and lunch and all sorts of food. And then on following evenings, I think it's over a period of a couple of weeks, you'll have a choice of 2 workshops that will be online. And so you're getting a lot more time for your money. And it's going to be held at the Burlington Hotel, which used to be the Midland Hotel. And I stress this because, in fact, I'm sure it's a listed building, and it's got Midland Hotel engraved on it. And so you see that before you see the sign that says Burlington Hotel. So don't be confused. It is literally across the road from the New Street station. Do be careful crossing the road because there are trolleys. And what else shall I tell you? New Street Station, that's important. And can I think this may or may not be the appropriate time.
Just the date, I think we don't know.
Oh, sorry, Monday the 23rd of May.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted to mention, I almost raised my hand about it earlier, is when you're going to be doing the training for SACREs. I think a lot of what your training is, Pat, is in addition to being on a SACRE in general, it's on specifics about living difference, etc. However, and we have subscribed, SACRE has been doing a lot of online courses. And one of them, I think it may have in fact been the first of this school year, was on being new to SACRE or joining your SACRE. It's being repeated the 29th of June, which is a Wednesday. And at that first one, there was somebody who actually hadn't even been appointed to their SACRE yet. They were coming on this to see if they would follow through and go ahead and join. And there was somebody who had been on a SACRE for 18 years. So it's a very wide range. You're going to fit in there somewhere. It's free, and please come. It's from 7 to 8:30. Yes, and more information will be available about logging in closer to the time. You do need to book in advance. And I don't know if there are any questions about anything to do with SACRE. I don't know if Portsmouth is going to be able to send somebody to the AGM. If there's one person or 2, or what's the?
Is there anybody who would be interested to travel to Birmingham? Should that be something you would like to do between now and then? I'm sure. I will look at it. Birmingham's really easy for me. I know where New Street Station is. It's an old stomping ground from childhood, but it just depends how it fits with my church work.
Sure. Oh, let me mention, by the way, though, for those of you who might have been thinking about driving, Birmingham now has a congestion zone.
Yeah.
And so it has to be booked in advance and arranged in advance, and it's rather complicated. And my personal recommendation, if you do want to drive, is to drive to a station outside of
Well, I've got a family outpost from Birmingham, so if I do get to go, I can just get on the train and just go walk at both ends. But as I say, I can't promise it, because I just don't know what's going on. So if you say that again,
you can always send me if nobody has.
Well, exactly. But if somebody else wants to be the intrepid explorer and go up to the Midlands, which I could recommend, then let us know. Kari?
Yeah, I'd love to go, but there's absolutely no way they're going to let me out of work for that one. So, you know, if by miracle I could, then I will.
Hey,
But
maybe I could do your teaching day and you can go.
yeah, sure. Yeah, brilliant. Okay,
Let's
great
get
deal.
Surprise.
We kind of build it as a kind of training, because David Hampshire works for the Interfaith Network and is very knowledgeable about
I don't
matters.
think he does anymore, actually, Pat, but anyway.
I know it's such a good thing to go to, having been to one before and been on the online one. I like the hybrid version though. That does mean we can dip into the workshops even if we can't get to the special event itself, which
I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. That's one of the things that hasn't been spelled out yet, is if it's going to be open to everybody or only people who are registered to attend. I
yes.
think it's only
I
people
hope they could be generous like they have been before. That would be really wonderful, actually.
It may be that they'll be able to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, the online one was brilliant, wasn't it? There was a big problem with us being allocated into the right room because the system went down, but it was just brilliant. Yes, could definitely recommend it. Okay, moving on to reports from the South Central SACRE hub meetings. I did attend, and I'm just looking at my notes, and I don't have an enormous amount. Was there anybody with me at that meeting? Elizabeth, do you have anything you've written down?
I don't have any of my notes in front of me either. It was interesting, as they always are, because you see, it's so funny, you know, there's a lot of really specific things that are by law required for a SACRE, and yet somehow we all seem to do many things differently. It's very interesting that way. Even when we share the same syllabus, it's really, you know.
And what's another thing that's useful is hearing the troubles and the issues that other SACREs are going through when they've got something quite big that comes up. It just helps us to learn or to share that. They did talk about, and now if this is the right meeting, because it could be a different one, they did talk about the still standing report, which is quite useful. It's about diversity, and so if you need to know anything about how to locate these, you can find this report on the NASACRE website. Something about the Angel Just Like Me project by Mary Hoffman. This is before Christmas, isn't it? Have I gone too far back?
Yes.
But it was really
That we talked about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
Please, Jane, carry on.
Because you were there, Jane, weren't you? Yeah.
Go, Jane.
Are you talking about there was a meeting in January? Is that that's probably the one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about diversity because Justine was talking about her research on decolonising the RE curriculum. And then a couple of us from the diocese talked about a project that we'd done to encourage primary school children to think about, you know, do we think the characters in the Christmas story were white or black or what colour? And we based it on a children's book called An Angel Just Like Me. And next year we're hoping to run out the same project, not just with church schools, but we think a lot of community schools would pick it up, because a lot of the resources link into a Hampshire or a Living Difference RE unit on angels anyway. So there's a lot of overlap there. So yeah, it was, and then from that we span out to talk about other issues to do with, well, encouraging children to think about diversity and inclusion. And
Yeah, thank you. Apart from those things, I think that was the main theme of the meeting, wasn't it? Thank you so much for the clarity there, Jane. That's really helpful. Are there any questions before we move forward? No. Okay. And moving on. I don't think we have appointed anybody to attend the NASACRE meeting, have we? Is it okay to leave that open to see if somebody wants to look at their diary and look at that later, and then to get in touch with us if they can get in touch with Karen or myself or Kari and Pat to see if they want to go.
How about if I send an email slightly nearer the time before we need to book places with some more details, and then hopefully we'll be able to support somebody in their attendance.
Lovely, lovely. Okay, that's super. Thank you very much. Okay, item 12, date of next meeting. Our next scheduled meeting will be on the 7th of June 2022 at 4:30 p.m. in person or virtual, to be decided nearer the time. Shall we test the mind of SACRE to see whether they have a particular preference about that?
Good idea.
Christine, I know you would like to say something.
Thank you, Sam. I just put my hand up because I thought the minutes said it would start at 4 o'clock like we did today, and I wondered why there's a difference.
So it says 4:30 in this particular document.
Yeah, but that's different from what was minuted at our last meeting, and we started today at 4, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Before the pandemic, did we start at 4 and then have a full meeting at 4:30, or am I making that up?
I don't remember.
I think we may have done that when we were visiting a place to look round, like a place of worship or a school. While I have your attention, can I just offer a personal preference that if it's at the Guildhall with its appalling problems, I'd rather attend virtually, but that if it was an interesting place of worship or school, I'd be very happy to attend.
As I understand it, we only use Guildhall for official business, so it would be really lovely to get back to visiting places of worship and schools again, wouldn't it? Hello, Jane.
I was just going to say the same. If we had an opportunity to meet either in a school or a place of worship, after 2 years of not seeing anybody and not doing that, that would be very nice.
It would be, wouldn't it? We'll keep an eye on the pandemic, and hopefully there'll be no more variants that cause us great trouble. Right, Christine, is that a legacy hand, or did you go again?
Sorry, Legacy, I'll try and take it down.
That's okay, thank you. Pat, you'd like to speak?
Just picking up the feeling of the meeting that we maybe would like to be in a place of worship or a school. Could I suggest that if that's something that you might feel able to offer or recommend, that you make contact with Karen or Sam or Kari as soon as possible, and that we look into arranging that for the summer meeting, bearing in mind that anything still could happen with the pandemic, and that we know that we can surely return to virtual meetings should we need to. But that's what I'm hearing, the sound of the meeting. I've got one other thing I'd like to say before we wrap up as well. But I can read that.
Okay. Kari, you'd like to speak?
Yeah, just to say, it's not the most exciting of buildings, but I could offer Portsmouth College if no one's got anything more exciting, and there's lots of parking.
And if we come to you, I think after all the times we've asked you to travel out, that would be very nice, wouldn't it? Make it easier for you.
So yeah, entirely up to you though. But I'd personally rather a nicer building. It's yeah. So up to you.
Yes, and I'll see if St Nicholas Church is free. Thursday afternoons are not a possibility of St Nick's at the moment, but you're very welcome to come to us. Okay, are there any more hands up? No, brilliant. Okay, so be thinking about that. I think it would be very exciting for us to see one another if we can. Okay, Pat.
So I'm thinking this is the last thing, but we haven't mentioned that Lisa Gallagher gave birth to a little one. I think Karen has got more information about that. But it would be nice, I would have thought, to minute our congratulations and send. Were we together, you know, we would have signed a card and all that kind of thing, wouldn't we? But
you send our good wishes somehow, some way to her and to baby and to family.
Yes, I will certainly send that on to Lisa and her,
Can
her
we send
new baby boy.
Can we send something to her?
That's a big question. I don't know whether we have the resources to do that.
I don't know.
There's there are online cards, so maybe one of those that you personally sign.
And Jane has just suggested something brilliant. We could send Karen messages, send you messages, Karen, and you could copy and paste them into a card to send on to her. How does that sound?
I can do that, yes.
That sounds great, doesn't it? So if you'd like to send your good wishes via an email, they can be creatively cut out and pasted. Heart shapes. Yeah, brilliant. Okay. Are we all happy that that might be a good idea? Brilliant. Are there any other things before I say the last bit? Yes, please, Sheikh.
Yeah, can I request with regards to suggestion for sending a message, if Karen would be able to favor us dropping us an email so that we can then respond to it, please, with the messages?
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we have a 5-minute warning. Is there anything else urgent that anybody has? And I will wrap up the meeting. Thank you, everyone. We have reached the end of the agenda and I now close our public meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you all, especially Sam. Thank you. Well done.
You're very welcome.